Oh.
I think we want to move closer. You want to picture in your
Welcome to this episode of
Oh.
Diaspora Scholars TV. I'm here to meet
Hello,
a friend I met yesterday, and that
Oh
is
my goodness.
Elizabeth at the
Oh, so
Kenya
good to meet
Marathon
you.
Dinner.
Oh
And
my
so,
God. Yeah,
in
welcome
this
to
episode,
Chicago.
we'll bring you the story of a friend whom we met at the Kenya
Yeah, and
Marathon
you look
Dinner in
good.
Chicago.
Thank
Chicago is in
you. I know
Illinois.
we're matching. You should
Illinois
have
is
worn
to the
my
north
blue
midwestern
jacket.
part of the United States.
Exactly.
In
And you
this
know what?
episode, we'll bring
We're
you the
matching
story
to that. So
again
we're
of
representing.
Ruth and
Yeah, so
Njoki,
it's
who
I
is a
hope you love the
nurse
city
in
and get to
Chicago.
come back
The story
soon.
about how she immigrated from Kenya to the United States. It's going to be an interesting one, so stay right here. And this is
Yes,
me, Dr. Fidelis
that's a good
Dombera.
amount of time to like
You can
visit the
simply call me
neighborhoods and
Daktari,
visit the
as
like
my
try
friends do.
different places because I feel like
Welcome to the
most
show.
people come to the city and they think, oh, this is.
Okay, Ruth, could you please tell us a little bit about your life in Kenya and your
Yes.
journey to the US and like how you settled into the US?
Yes, of course. So it's I grew up in Kenya. I actually was there until like I was 20. So went to primary school. Went to boarding school pretty early when I was probably class 7.
Wow.
Yeah, my mom was like she needs to be focused. And then
and which boarding school was that?
I went to it's called Kamju.
Where is
it's close
that?
to it's in. We call it Kigumo. It's
Oh,
yeah,
Kigumo.
that's close to my
Okay.
grandma. So
Okay.
I used to live with my grandma at the time. And then I ended up doing okay in high school, and I went
Yes.
to Kahuya Girls in Moranga.
Okay.
So I'm a very proud alumni of Kahuya
Oh,
Girls.
okay.
So I was there for 4 years, and then I always had at the back of my mind that I wanted to study abroad. It's one of those dreams that you'd always have, but you
Yes.
didn't know how it was going to happen because
Yeah.
sometimes like finances and it's such a dream, but you were like, okay, I'll still dream. So
Yeah,
but for
until it happens. Yeah.
exactly, right? So, but I always thought about Australia. I don't know why, but I think I watched so many movies.
Okay.
And it was always Australia, so I was like, I want to go to that
Australia.
place.
And do you have anyone in your family in Australia?
No, nobody. Actually,
okay.
I'm the first in my family to be abroad and
Wow.
be in the United States too.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, me too. I'm the first one to be in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, so we're setting a trail. We're
Yes.
creating pathways for other
Yes,
people.
and yeah, just serving as a good example to our siblings.
Yes. Yeah. So eventually, so I talked to my parents, my mom and dad, and I said, well, I have this dream, I want to go to the United States. And they were like, it came as a shock sometimes to because, you say these things when you're young, but they didn't know I really meant it. So they said, well, this is a process that can be time consuming to do. It takes a lot of money because there's processes that you have to do.
Yes.
So they said, if you're going to do it, then you have to be sure.
Yeah.
So, went back and thought about it, and I said, yeah, I really do want to go.
And when was this, when you told them about it?
So I finished high school around 2009. So around, I was waiting for my results to come out, and I wanted to be a lawyer.
Oh.
And then my dad was like, you're too emotional, you're going to cry in court. Yeah, but he meant it in a good way. So he said, well, and I wanted to be a nurse too. I was either law school or nursing, but nursing school it's also very challenging. Sometimes very competitive in Kenya.
Yes.
So I had to have two options. So when I was waiting for my KCSE results to come out, when they came out and I saw my grade, I was like, okay, maybe I'll try law school. And then that's when the idea of coming to the United States came in, yeah.
And so initially was Australian, then why US?
So I think it was more like I know a lot of people who've come to the United States. I think the process might be a little easier. And then I know I've had a lot of Kenyans who come here through different ways, school, like the green card.
Yes.
So it's like at least going to somewhere that is familiar and I know a lot of Kenyans.
It's easier.
And then I somehow knew someone who was in the United States.
Okay.
It's a story for different.
Yeah, it's good when you know someone here because I didn't know anyone.
Wow.
So apart from the people I was connected to during the visa process, that's the only people I knew, the community within the University of Georgia. But initially, I didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
So I just came here and I just started my life.
Wow.
But thank God, the community that I had in the University of Georgia really shaped me and helped me with my transition.
Wow.
But yeah, so what did you come to do when you came to the US?
Yeah, so I applied for like human resource management because there's this notion when you're applying for schools in the United States that certain degrees, like if you apply for nursing or things like that, they might not get accepted. You might not get a visa. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Yes, I've heard about it.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what, I guess I'll choose any degree. The goal is for me to get to the United States. And I didn't even know anything about human resource. So that I applied, started the whole process. You know, there's a long process that you back then. I don't know if things have changed.
To which school?
Yeah, I applied to Indiana University of Pennsylvania. So then that's in Pennsylvania. I know I used to think it's in Indiana, but it's in Pennsylvania because I knew someone there. So and then eventually I came, and I'm telling you, it's been a long journey because when I came here, the person that I had connections with, they didn't even show up to pick me at the airport.
Wow.
Yes. So I'm here very young, right after high school in Kenya. I never traveled to any part of the world. And I'm in an airport. I landed in JFK.
Wow.
And then I had to take a flight to Pennsylvania. And at the back of my mind, I'm on that flight because we had already booked everything. That's the whole process. You have to book everything. And I'm thinking, I do not have anybody to pick me up.
Yes.
So I remember just like crying. And I grew up in a very like religious and praying and believing in God. And I'm just telling God, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to get there. And I figured when I got to New York, I said, maybe I can go back to Kenya, but I don't know how.
Yeah, you know. But what happened to this person? Why didn't they show up at the airport?
That's one thing I would say. You know, if people, when you come here and people say, I'll help you and all that, make sure that sometimes people are genuine. They have the right intentions.
And also have a backup plan.
And have a backup plan. So, and you know, some people always know that are they willing, are they wanting to help me sometimes because they want something in return, or are they? Exactly. So it was more like a give and take, which is okay sometimes, but it depends on what you're taking, you know. And so it was. So eventually it was falsehood because they're like, well, you know, you can come here, you can. The school will take care of you, but that's not the reality of life. You have to have had like a dorm planned, like a place
everything
to stay.
Said.
So very misleading. So, and that's something that I would want if I was to help other people.
Yes.
Like, this is the reality of things.
Tell them
you still want to go through the process before you come here.
I wish someone had prepared you earlier before that. But yeah, I'm glad when I came to the University of Georgia, the department booked me a shuttle from the airport to the school, and they also connected me to a Kenyan lady that really helped me with the accommodation process. So it was an easier transition.
Easier transition.
Yeah. And now through her and other Kenyans, I was able now to meet the African community there. So it was easier. Yeah, now going back to you. So how was the settling and transition?
Yeah, so it also like, which is also like you brought up a good point. Depends sometimes on what state you're going to. Because I went to this state in Indiana, very small town, not a lot of Kenyans, not a lot of black community there. So it's like I was basically trying to navigate life by myself. Somehow I was blessed enough to like have this couple from America that they were willing to host me. They just said, you just pay us $200 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, so pay us $200 a month and we'll give you a room, a room to stay, and you know, go to school. And it was so I walked to school. I didn't have a car, which is also a big thing sometimes in the United States. Like some places you go, you do need a car.
Yes, you do.
So that worked perfect. It was around the school vicinity, so I was able to walk to school, and so that kind of helped with my first semester. And then I was just like, this is not for me. Somehow God connected me with so many people.
Yeah, with the right people.
Yeah, you know, very grateful to them to this day that I was connected with a pastor in here. He's just like very dear to my heart, and he's the one who really kind of help me out. So after one semester in Pennsylvania, I decided to like go to Seattle, Washington, because there was a good, good Kenyan
community. Yeah, I've had that.
Yeah, and somehow I was blessed enough for this family, angels of a family, and I pray for them every day.
Amen.
Because they took me in even though they did not know
as
who
part
I
of
was.
Their family.
And they accepted me, and I was there for 2 years, and
wow.
So still going to school.
Doing the same program.
Yes, doing the same program. So I kind of switched to like being in general studies, because I now knew I want to focus on being like doing like nursing. So I was like, let me look at the prerequisites that I need to do nursing school, and then kind of start focusing on that. So that's easy. You can switch degrees.
Yeah, degrees, and now you had to switch school.
Yeah, I had to switch school. But the biggest thing is like you have to stay in status.
Oh yes, that's very important.
Because that's why I was somehow, even though I lose status, I don't know, things happen and you end up losing status, and that's just how life is sometimes in this country. But I was lucky enough or blessed enough to like still keep my status, right? The
being
F1
in school.
status, yeah. So, I continue going to school, and then with my visa, with the F1 visa, you can only work, it's very limited.
Yes,
right?
The 20 hours.
Yeah, the 20 hours.
So, are you working on campus, and how, did you have any funding or any financial support?
Yeah, it was challenging.
Any scholarships?
Yeah, you get a few scholarships. They're also limited on scholarships.
Oh yes,
because most of them, unless you're like a citizen or like you have your green card.
Yes.
If you're an international student, you're
tough.
Paying double like what people pay. You're paying. Like you can only work a few hours, and you can only work on campus and things like that. It was very challenging. But I'm telling you, like somehow one thing I can say about this country is that there's always a light. At the end
there's always a way. Yeah.
Always a way at the end of the dark tunnel. Because I'm telling you, like, long story short, I had people like help me out in so many ways and. This is something that I would want to pass along because wow. Yeah.
Wow. Now you're already now in Seattle. You're doing now. This time you're doing nursing, not the HR.
Yeah. So I'm doing like my prerequisites for nursing.
Okay.
Yes.
Then when now did you shift to nursing?
So when I was there, I switched. I decided to join the military.
That's another way.
So, surprise, I always tell people that, and it comes as a surprise. But, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, and you always have to do what will help you.
Exactly,
you look ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah, look at how is your future.
Yeah, exactly. So they had a program where the MAVNI program. I think they still have it where you can get your citizenship. When you join the military, you just have to give them back your years, because I feel like life is not just about taking.
Sometimes you have to give something,
And people have to sometimes have that mindset. Like sometimes people just want to take, but what are you giving the other person, right? So I joined the military, and from Seattle, I was stationed after my training and all that in Oklahoma. I went to Texas.
Wow.
So that's why I was settled in Texas for 7 years.
Wow.
That was my contract. So I had to finish my contract.
For 7 years.
Yeah. But the thing with nursing school in this country, you cannot really, well, at least for what I was learning, the schools that I was applying to, you need to be like a full-time student because you're having to go to clinicals and stuff. But with the military, you're also like 24/7.
Oh, it's full-time.
Yeah, full-time. So it was a little bit challenging for me to like go to nursing school.
Yeah, like to balance all this.
Yeah, exactly.
It can be tough.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, but the military was good enough to pay for my school. So for me, I mean, when you go through challenges and you have now opportunities, you don't want to lose them.
Yes, and you learn the hard way.
Yes,
and you know what to do.
Yes. So I was like, I know I have like opportunities to go to school, and I love learning. I love going to school. So I said, I'm gonna do a degree that is health related.
Yes.
So that in case I have to go to nursing school later, then I can do that.
It's easier to get in.
Exactly. So I ended up doing public health, doing my bachelor's in public health.
Wow.
So I knocked out a lot of nursing school prerequisites doing that. So I graduated with my bachelor's in public health, and then I was nearing my end of contract in the military. So by the time I was done, I had already applied to nursing school.
Good you did that.
Yeah, because most people wait. Most people
you don't wait.
Until, especially with the military, they're like, because they're used to doing staff for us every time. You basically tell you, wake up, do this, do this.
Yes.
So when you navigate and get out of the military and live in the civilian world, as we say it, you don't even know how to book a dental appointment because they're used to doing that for you.
Yeah, and time goes so fast before you realize you don't even have time to think about other things.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and you know, they'll be like, oh, you have this money that you pay for school. So I'm like, I had to apply. I was not gonna get it. I always have to have a plan B, C, or D. So I applied to nursing school in Chicago. So going back to why I live in Chicago, so I applied to one nursing school, but I put my eggs in one basket. I don't know.
Yeah, and
somehow I have to make it.
Why Chicago?
You know, surprisingly enough, I don't even know how this happened. You know, some things you end up in places
where you belong. You know, God will always put you where you belong.
That's true. When you trust Him and He leads you to where He wants you, and He does things out of the extraordinary, things so that you don't have to think it's by my own power, right?
Yeah, and that was a good reward. Yeah, and I'm glad you came here, and now we met, and now we're good friends.
Yeah, great.
Well, so now you're a nurse, and how is life as a nurse in Chicago, in United States?
Yeah, so I love being a nurse, and you know, especially in this country, because we have a lot of resources that other places don't get to have. You know, one time I took a mission to when I was in the military, I had a mission to go to Chad, and I'm telling you, even the glass, they're like, you have to reuse those glass, you have to wash them, you know. So and I tell people here all the time, I'm like, you know, be so grateful that you can have a mask to change.
Yes.
Yeah. So the healthcare system here is, you know, there's a lot to be desired. There's always something to improve, I think. But in perspective of being a nurse, it's a very rewarding career. I feel like it's one of those jobs where we basically say you're never going to lack a job.
Yes.
Because of the many avenues that you can take. So you get a nursing degree, get a registered nursing degree, you sit for your NCLEX, the licensing board, depending on the state you're in, and then you start practicing. So from there, you know, you can work as a bedside nurse.
Yes.
Some people choose not to do that. So you know, when I mean bedside, you know, work in the hospital setting. Some people choose to even do, nowadays people like doing Botox, you know, or giving IV hydration. So, I mean, there's so many avenues. Some people choose to be nurse educators. So there's so many avenues. Just with your licensing degree, you can find so many avenues. Some people choose to go back to school and get I found out that I could actually go back to school and be a health informatics. So I applied to a nursing degree, and I don't even have to take any more classes. I can get a second degree just dealing with data, the computer side of things. How if patients come to the hospital and just numbers basically.
So there's so many opportunities out there.
So many opportunities for people to do. So it's a career that is worth it. I always say that we're underpaid. That's one thing I always say. It's an underpaid career for what you do, because it's very mentally, emotionally, all kinds physically draining. So you're basically having to deal with families sometimes.
Yes, and even personal life.
Life, you know. So when you go to the hospital, you're expected to have this strong faith.
Yes, compassion.
Yes, but maybe you're also going through stuff, you know. So a lot of mental, and I think COVID really brought out the things about mental health in nursing. So a lot of people left bedside nursing because they figured, well, this whole time we're being overworked, or maybe I don't have to go through this.
Yeah, and that's a lot. Yeah.
So I always say now that I've learned to sometimes say no to working an extra shift.
That's one thing. Learn to say no.
Learn to say no. Sometimes telling the patients, maybe I cannot do this for you now. It's not because I don't care, but I'll come back because I need another patient needs to see me. Because we have, in my hospital, sometimes we'll have one nurse who have a ratio of 4 to 5 patients. So that's 5 people depending on you to meet their needs for 12 hours.
Wow.
So so we work I work three shifts, 12 hours. And some people think, oh, it's just 3 shifts. But by the time you're done, you're exhausted. So I always advocate for take care of yourself on those days, you know, even though you just stay at home.
Yeah, self-love.
Self-love.
It's good.
Yeah, and sometimes people feel guilty, like, oh, I'm just sitting the couch and doing nothing.
No,
Do
you
that for
need
yourself.
that.
You
need that.
Do that. Yeah, so.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I just feel like, you know, I wish, you know, with what I have right now, I just want to share so much with the world. Like, go back home and learn from the other nurses back home too.
Back home.
I mean, I've had friends who have gone on mission trips to Kenya as nurses, and they said it's amazing because the education system in Kenya is different.
Yes,
it's a little
different.
difficult compared to here, I would say. So they have gone there and said, wow, we came back and we learned so much from these nurses back there, the way they handle situations, even with the little resources they have. So the only challenging is the funding back home. Most people are very qualified to go to school, but they don't have the money to go to nursing school. Or the government sometimes maybe doesn't fund these hospitals, a lot of strikes, you know, so there's so many things. I mean, what do you think about those kind of things?
I've seen nurses striking. And I just wonder what's happening with the government. And probably they can do something on that.
Yeah, great.
Okay, so I've been a girl of support from when I was in primary school back in Kenya, high school. I've been supported, I've been mentored all the way in college in Kenya up to here. I've been on scholarships and fundings. And I've been always looking forward to empower women and girls, women back in Kenya, and even provide opportunities and knowledge in education. So through your journey and career, academics and career, what can you tell that young girl back home?
Wow, that's so good. I love the girl child too. I love the girl child, and I like growing up how we grew up and having the opportunities that I have now. I just want to tell there's no limit to anything in this world. I want to tell that young, when I see these young girls, even like family, my little cousins, and I tell them all the time, no one can limit you to anything in this world. So my biggest message to a girl child, that you are empowered, you are strong, you're independent, you can do anything you put your mind into. In a world where like women are pushed into the corner, they always say that you always get the corner office. You are not alone. There's a big group of people. We're all supporting you, and I hope with my little experience, because we're always learning, that I can play my part. I always say my job is my mission for this world, and I want to play my part in inspiring someone, even though it's to one person. It doesn't have to be a million people. When it's to one girl that I can say, hold their hand and tell you that you can do it. That's my goal.
Wow, thank you.
And I look forward to doing it and working with you and other people.
We can work together to just empower women back home, and to young girls back home. The sky is not the limit. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. And it was amazing, and I look forward to, more from you. And
we'll meet again and we'll learn more and more and support other women back home. Thank you.
Thank you.